Yeah, so welcome to our first podcast of this series. Our podcast series goal is to help software developer wannabes or people interested in coding or development career options in greater Helsinki area to reach their goals and have a better understanding about the job market, recruiting, skills needed, studying options, etc. So my name is Miikka Merikanto and I'm responsible for the IT education here in Business College Helsinki, and I'm very delighted to have 3 of our students from 2019 pilot programs, one from each group, Efe, Lawrence and Valentina. Welcome.
Thank you.
So I wanted to first ask you about your background and what made you get interested in coding or software development.
Should I start?
Sure.
Okay. So my background is in human or urban geography, and I graduated from the University of Helsinki in 2016 and worked a couple of years, and then I had this temporary contract finishing in January 2019, and for a long time I've wanted to study programming, but then when you work at the same time, I found it was too exhausting to study because it requires, for me at least, quite a lot. So I saw this program. My partner, he pointed it out, and so I applied and I got in, and yeah, that's how I ended up here.
Okay, my background is in geographic information systems. So I studied my master's at Aalto University. I graduated in December 2017. So I was, in the job market searching for jobs. So I was at home for a year, but I've always had interest also in programming because I think that now having the skill to code is very essential in the job market. So my brother, who is also already working as a system specialist here in Finland, actually pointed me to this program in early 2019 that is a good opportunity for me to kind of kickstart my programming career, and I applied and I got in. Yes.
So I'm from St. Petersburg, Russia, and I came here 2.5 years ago and started my journey with studies here, but another program. So the first one was business studies. After it, I realized that, okay, it's very useful for me, very useful in my life, but I want to do something different from it. So just half a year before I studied the full stack program. I attended one 3 weeks boot camp, coding boot camp organized by the Shortcut, and some feelings started move inside me. So I felt myself alive again, because when you're coding, your brain is working, and I like this feeling very much. So, and easiest way, which I already knew, that okay, in this business college they have this program. Okay, and it was easy to apply here, and interview was really nice, and I was so I don't know, full of energy when I started here, and I'm trying to keep this energy till now, and I hope I succeed in it. And yeah, a bit about my background. So I have master's degree in linguistics and Finno-Greek translational studies. Also, in my previous life in Russia, I worked in Estonian consulate as a visa officer and freelance translator and Estonian language teacher. So yeah, ended up here, and I'm happy.
And quite a coincidence, because the tutoring teacher in your group was Estonian,
yes.
Who speaks Estonian and a little bit Russian. So
yeah, it's the very first day I realized, because I can recognize this Estonian accent. Okay. Jeez.
Yeah.
Cool, yes.
So what about your previous experience about coding? So you told me right before that you went to the shortcut program. A lot of our students, or many of our students, have actually been studying in shortcut before. So what did they do there?
I guess it was the first time they organized this bootcamp.
Yeah.
It was like HTML, CSS, and like very, very simple JavaScript. But you know, like already starting doing something, you realize, are you like interested in it or not, or like which kind of feelings it like rise in you.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I know they improved their programs and now it's like more different types and coding languages.
Yeah. So they have a variety of different things.
Yes. So,
What about you, Efe? Did you have any previous knowledge?
Yeah, I mean, some like for, I think 2015 was the first time I participated some kind of weekend in like some IT firm. I think it was Clojure workshop.
Yeah.
And or Clojure, I don't know how that is pronounced.
Yeah.
And then I've gone to a couple of that kind of workshops like that last from Friday to Saturday. And then in December 2019, I started Java mock, but then I got in here, so I didn't finish that course.
Yeah.
And I've done some Code Academy before I came.
Yeah. So for the people who don't know, Java mock is Helsinki University massive open online course, which is free for everyone in Finnish and English. What about you, Lawrence?
Like, I would say I was kind of familiar with programming from like my master studies, but I had not taken up like studying one language the whole way or like having extensive knowledge in any programming. I was just familiar and could use some of them to just do assignments or school projects. But before I started this program, I wouldn't say that I was hands-on with any programming language. Or I just had, we say, the ability to learn, but I have not taken it up that much. So yeah.
Yeah, I remember because I interviewed you and I actually interviewed Efe. I'm sorry, I can't remember. Yeah, because I don't recall that I interviewed you. Was it Harry? Do you remember?
No.
Okay.
He wasn't our teacher.
Yeah, I think so too. Because Lawrence, you had the quite a different career goal because your goal was to land a job in the GIS space, geoinformatics space, and the lot of the different roles in that space, or that's what you told me, require knowledge about coding.
Coding, yeah.
So that was, for me personally, like a really joyful moment when I saw your LinkedIn update, because I was always thinking that were we able to help you?
Yeah. Well,
so that was really cool.
Yeah.
But now we are getting ahead of things. So, what about you each had a different group with different people and possibly even different programs, for Valentina especially. Can you tell about your experiences and your feelings during the actual school work and studying here?
I can start.
Okay.
I think like full stack program is a great opportunity to try different things. Maybe like you won't be a full stack programmer, but like during this year you can try backend, front end, UX design, like some work with databases. So at least to understand yourself what you like.
Yeah.
So I think it's the point. It was a point for me. Like, okay, now I can understand. But somehow I like all these things. So yeah, now I'm doing the full stack internship. Yeah.
Right. For me, it's like getting into the program. Like I was kind of excited about the possibilities. So I was open-minded about whichever way that my interest would take me. And I would say my personal experience was that it was fast-paced. So
Yes.
so many technologies, so many tools within a short period of time. So if like you don't have like kind of a good background or good knowledge or familiarity with programming, then it's kind of difficult to catch up. But then what I really also liked about our class was that we were introduced to a lot of tools that are essential in the workplace, in the real world. So in that way, it helped me know a lot of things and how to kind of package myself for the job market and kind of concentrate on the things that will help me or give me the skills that the employers want from students. So that was something that I really liked and appreciated that I got from the program. Yeah.
Do you have any examples of different?
Yeah, I would say like for instance, all the projects that we did, we were introduced to like the software development process. So how teams work together. So and this is how like in the workplace teams or projects are actually built. So you know how to read each other's code, the version control, and all these kind of little things that are when we are studying programming, most of the times your concentration is just on getting the skill and like knowing how to code, but the other stuff that actually makes the project a success. These were some kind of how to even interact with your colleagues and to make them be able to read your code and understand when you are not there, and all these kind of skills was appreciated. Yeah.
So in 2019, we got the project funding from the Ministry of Education and Culture. And one of the handicaps of that project was that the education tracks must finish in 2019. So that actually tightened the schedule in the way that in Valentina's group, it was, I believe, 9 months of studying on-premise. And if you discount the July month, only 5 months in your groups, Lawrence and Efe's groups distinctly. So they were more even faster paced than everything anything that we've done before. What about you, Efe?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It was, and what you said, it was quite fast, and especially like in our group, we had people from like different skill levels, which maybe made it like for the teachers more difficult to teach us. And but yeah, like I think what I remember when I studied this Javamook course, I went to these tutoring hours in the university, and they were actually even then telling me that, you know, there's going to be so much that you will learn that you will actually understand it much later. So I feel like after, in retrospective, after the course, like during the course, there was a lot of frustration. It required a lot of work, which is like, that is the truth about like learning to coding, I think. Like it's not easy. But when I look at like the development and what I've learned, like it's in 5 months we actually learned quite a lot, but now I think I have like good skills to learn more coding. But like I would say that 5 months is not enough to become like a full stack programmer.
Yeah, and that one of the because one other thing that distincted your class from the others were that in Efe's and Valentina's class there was like a tutoring teacher who was really taking on the vast majority of teaching for that class. And then they had the grasp and knowledge of what is going on and what's the current situation day by day. But your group had many different teachers. So the collaboration, and I got feedback from you during the summer. So the collaboration between them and the communication between them was not, and between me was not good enough. So there were some issues. And based on the feedback that we got, now that we don't have the hindrance of the tight time schedule, we actually have 12 months or one like academic year of studying on premise before the actual internship in the 2020 group.
But I think it's a really good that you took also the feedback.
Yeah.
But you had like the pilot or like you know
Yeah.
so. But I think still like a lot of us have gotten a job or like moved forward. So it's been like a good opportunity. So
That's good.
Also can add that agile course was very useful. You know, like in school you don't understand it, but then when you're at your workplace and like everybody use it, you're not like, okay, what does it mean, like all these terms, and you understand how it works. So it was useful. And for my group, it was like React and Node.js, the main tools, like and I feel it's like number one now. So if you learn it, you're like you can get job not easily, but it's like give you extra bonuses.
Yeah,
definitely.
So would you like to elaborate more about the studying in the program, about your feelings on the way, or frustration, or different kind of like moments that you can look back on when you were like happy or unhappy?
Well, like one of the best, I want to start from the best thing that happened during the course was actually, you talked about cooperation and teamwork. But it was this summer project we had where we had actually this guy from like an IT company from Tampere teaching us. That was the best experience I actually had. And it was a 1 month long project course where we got to work on it wasn't a real project or like real thing, but like real thing we did. And yeah, I think I learned so much, and not only about programming, but also like working in teams and how maybe like real developers work in real work life. So that was a really good experience, I would say.
Yeah, I agree, because I was part of that summer project too, and it was like a highlight in the program. Frustrations is, I would say, it's like it gets back to how fast-paced the technologies were being introduced, and it's like at some point I felt like probably I need to concentrate on certain things and let go of others, because I was finding it difficult to keep the balance of keeping up with all the different programming languages that were being introduced, like within like 3 weeks, 1 month, and then you are on to the next one. So I felt like it wasn't just me. Some people in our class also had that same feeling, and especially those who didn't have, who had zero experience with programming before entering the program. But I would say that on the whole, like it was more based on you as an individual, and kind of finding what you want and where your interest is, and concentrating on it, because then you will get the most out of the program. Because like a lot of was being thrown at us, a lot of knowledge, and like you said, in retrospect, like now when I look back at some of the things that we were taught, I'm like, okay, we were actually taught a lot within that short period, and for me personally, it is helping me in the work environment, and helping me transition that knowledge into other programming languages that now I am using in the workplace. So the ability to actually learn these different kind of different programming languages for different purposes was something that I think it helped me a lot.
Yeah, and I believe that your group's teacher had the mentality of not spoon feeding the students, so that would be like for some who have zero knowledge might be like an extra hurdle, because there's not, it's like more like project based, so that you would have to be very active. Yeah.
I can totally agree in this case, and for my group it was also great, the summer project, and we enjoyed it very much with our team. And it was like, really like you said, like real project. I can say it was real. Like, this feeling, like but I have some like really challenging, like on the edge moments when I felt like, okay, I can do it. I cannot do it. But somehow next day it goes away, this feeling. So I think like youngsters, they shouldn't like afraid of this kind of days. It can happen to you like many times, but it doesn't mean really anything. So just believe in yourself, and also like the students, they have to understand how they can take this opportunity, as you said. So because you have to plan your time, prioritize, and like learn how to learn. Then you will get something from it.
I agree with both of you, and like I think it took me like in the autumn when I got my internship place and knew that I was going to use React and JavaScript, I also had to like prioritize like where to focus my learning. So, but I think, we're all adults, and like this was an education for adults, so that's what we are supposed to do, like figure it out what we need and like learn about that. So
what about the when you actually took the step from studying in the program to internships, and with Lawrence you went to the GIS space, so you went to job contract directly, but what were like the feelings then? I mean, for me personally, moving from university studying to work was like the workload just exponentially like grew, and I was like really trying to learn how to swim in balancing my work.
I would say like you said, my aim was to get into the GIS space, and so like when at the end of the program we were looking for internships as well as applying to like web development companies. I was also applying to GIS companies to see. So, but what helped me kind of assimilate into the job space was that like I felt during our program we were introduced to like how to work with people and the whole process of software development. And I would say maybe I was lucky because there was not so much workload on me from the beginning. My supervisors slowly introduced me to new things every week, and the basic tasks that I have to do, which I was kind of comfortable with. And then slowly, as time has been going on, now they'll be adding small tasks, small programming tasks, do this, do that, and the tasks have been increasing. So I would say it has been kind of a smooth transition, partly because I was quite familiar with how the work environment is through our visits to companies, during the school, and also the project work that we did. So it has not been, I wouldn't say it has been a big leap for me. It's been a learning experience, all right, but I would say it's partly because of my experience here, it has been a smooth transition so far. Yeah.
What about you?
For me, it went quite smoothly, I can say. So at my workplace, internship place, my colleagues, they understand my level very well, and they give the tasks like very like. So it's always like step forward, but it's like small steps.
Yeah.
So I think like as at your place, so they like understand very well how I can learn and gain more like knowledges. So I know that for many students to get the place it's quite challenging, and it's also like very this kind of moment you have to just to continue looking for, and I would like to advise to other students just to be patient and continue sending your CVs, but not maybe like a crazy to every place you just found. Like I took like more rational approach, so just choose places you really want to be there, and like just take time writing your cover letter or like application letter. So I guess it can be like, because it's not like any ideal way to how to get the place, but yeah, you can try like different approaches and take your time.
I agree. Personally, my internship also, like people knew like that I'm a beginner, and I felt that the tasks I was given were like in relation to that as well. But of course, I think mentally, because I didn't really know what the like level is at work, because I hadn't worked in that kind of environment before. So like I think it was more personally for me mentally like heavy in the beginning, especially because there was thoughts like, am I good enough for this kind of stuff? But in the end, like when you get used to it and like manage to complete things, you kind of get more confidence. And like, of course, I was lucky. I had really nice co-workers, and like they supported me. And yeah, but also like my internship was only 2 months, so it's quite short. I guess you have like a full-time job, but you have like 3 months or so.
3 months,
yeah, so there's more time to do things in there, I would say.
Yeah, but I agree that it's kind of like mentally difficult, like first times, because it's like you see everybody around you so like professional, and but as you said, after completing task, like you feel more like confident.
Yeah.
But then you are getting the next one.
Yeah.
It starts from beginning.
Yeah.
But I think it's all about coding and programming. So even like people with 10-year experience, they also like can get some challenging things. So.
What about GitHub when searching for the internship? Did you use GitHub?
I haven't tried.
Really?
Do you mean like I have all my my schoolwork in there, so I send it to my.
You mean?
But I don't know.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Public repositories in GitHub.
Yeah, it's. I think it's because before I even went for my interview, like they wanted to see
Projects.
projects and codes that that I have written, and it helps. I mean, I think when you have something to show, it really helps in the application process, and you are able to kind of more not just say, but demonstrate that, hey, I have learned this and I can actually do something. So it really helps to have something to show on your GitHub.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I a bit misunderstood you.
Don't worry.
Yeah, sure. It's like regarding technical knowledge, it's like kind of main tool.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think people shouldn't be only focused on technical skills, because like soft skills is very important. Even sometimes more important for beginners, because like you don't have like much to show in GitHub, so you have to be like open for people. And
one of the things that our teachers told us was that as a beginner, like when you are getting into the workspace, most of the times your concentration is to only demonstrate your skills, but the person interviewing you is also wants to know, hey, can we actually work with this person, like in terms of relations stuff? So it is also quite important to kind of be yourself and try to find that balance, because they know that you can learn on the job. You have the ability to learn the skill, but if it's difficult to work with you, or they have a sense that, hey, it might be difficult to work with this person in terms of personal relations, then so like you said, soft skills are quite very important also. Yeah.
And also, like, I think IT or development is like quite vast or broad. So, for example, I personally am more interested in the user experience part. So you necessarily don't have to be like this super technical coder or programmer. You can do other stuff like project management as well.
And understand the personalities.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and you have to. It's very beneficial to know the development or technical skills 101 in that kind of a role, in a non-technical role. For example, like a project manager, it's very beneficial to understand that. Yeah. So, anything you'd like to add to the experiences during the program?
Well, I would say it's personally it's been a great learning experience since I've been here. I have added a lot of knowledge to what I knew already, and it has helped me transition into a role that I wanted to do, and gotten me on a path for my career progression, and so I would say it's been a success for me. So yes.
And I think the program and the internship, like together, have given me more like persistence, but also like self-esteem, or kind of like if I really want to do something, like with work, I can achieve that. And like
I think like we covered like mostly all the parts of our studies, and but I think it's maybe before you go to the program, before you start your studies, it's good to check like different kind of positions, try to understand what they mean, and as you came to the program, so you had a goal already, so you knew what you wanted to do after the program, and it's maybe gives you like more motivation and more understanding, like, because like for me I was like, okay, I just like it, I don't know. So it can increase your like transition time to the workplace. So it can be helpful to meet maybe some developers, different kind of developers before start studies or something like that, or attend some coding weekends, boot camps, or this kind of things.
One thing that I would like to add also is that like new students should see the program as a platform to kind of take advantage of, and that it also helps very much that if you do a lot of studies on your own, before you even enter the program, if you are planning to enroll, familiarize yourself with the programming languages that you want to learn or you want to specialize in. Like, I think that if you already have a good fundamentals of the language, then it's easy for you to take full advantage of all the knowledge that you will be getting here, because you'll be able to move at a faster pace or kind of grab the concepts really quickly and take full advantage of the resources here. Yeah.
Yeah, something we want to see in applicants is not the like professional skills or something like that, or you don't have to be a master developer, but once you do coding 101, you understand what coding is. So then you have a much more clear picture and you have more clarity about the program or different options. If you don't have any experience, then you might be enthusiastic, but for some people, if they face problems which they cannot solve, maybe their persistence level is not that high, or I don't know what the issue is, but then they might quit.
Yeah.
So we want to it's like a better match for us and better match for the students or applicants if they know what they're applying into.
Yeah.
And it requires also work after the school hours. Like, it's not like you just come here and sit 6 hours and then you go home. But you have to work also in your free time.
Yeah, one topic that we didn't discuss is because you all have like academic backgrounds like myself, so studying in university is sometimes feels like snail-mail classes. Like, you have tasks and then you do them by yourself and then you meet and discuss. But here it's like more like a school day where you're actually on premise and the teacher is available and so on. How would you compare the approaches in this format and to your previous experiences?
I think it depends on personality.
Yeah.
I'm completely fine with this school approach because, like, for me, it's even like better to communicate with other people, and it somehow keeps me more, like, I don't know, motivated or something like that.
Yeah.
But like, so I like this kind of studies, and it's like you have to be on premises.
I would say also, like, perhaps because of the time that we had to learn, I think this was good, because like you know that, okay, you are spending this amount of time to immerse yourself in this program, and the more time you spend with your colleagues, you are able to kind of solve problems and collaborate with them and get even more better understanding of what you don't get. Most of the times in the universities, hey, you go to class 2 hours, 3 hours, and you go home, and maybe you might even lose motivation to kind of keep on studying what you are doing. So for me personally, since this was kind of the first time that I was fully immersing myself into a programming language and trying to get a skill that I really need for my career, I think the approach, I would say, was good.
For me, coming from a Finnish like education background, like especially in the university, I was very used to this, that you can work on your own and you don't have to go to the lectures. So it required, for me personally, like adjustment and commitment. I don't see it's necessarily bad to study on your own or having contact teaching or learning, but I guess like for learning programming, it's easier than like doing it on your own, because you can always ask. And like one good thing in our program, I think it was not only the teachers you could ask, you could also ask like your co-students, and I think I learned a lot from them as well.
What about like socializing with fellow students? Did you get into that, or?
We had a couple of like gatherings.
We had a pizza.
We had
at the end of the summer project, which was really nice.
Yeah.
And I think and in our class too, I think they organized a few eat outs, drink outs, which was like really nice. And also like you were saying, different people had different kind of skill level in the class, so it was nice to kind of you could see that okay, there are some people who already have been studying maybe programming a year before they entered, so they were grabbing concepts really quickly, and it was also a good approach to learn from them or like do projects with them, which you get to learn a lot. So it was nice knowing people from different cultures, and it was really nice, I would say.
Yeah, and like in the summer project, we were like mixed. So we were like, I was in the Finnish speaking group.
Yeah.
So we were mixed with the English speaking group. So I think that was a really nice experience too. Yeah.
Yeah, I might add that the 2019 groups, we had 2 English groups and 1 Finnish group. Yeah.
Is it the same this year?
The January group is in English, and in August there's 1 group in English and 1 group in Finnish. What about you, Valentina?
We also had some like events, but with some students we're still like in touch and meet like once a month or something. So also like getting in new friends, it's very nice. Even if you're like coming to Finland from abroad and you don't have a lot of friends here, so it's always nice to find some people. And even like if you study one thing, so most likely you like the same things.
Yeah.
So it's good, easy to get like people you like or something.
I want to add to Efe's comment on she liked the university approach. I agree. The different approaches are good. I don't want to be against them, but at the same time, I'm happy that we can offer something different, because there's a wide variety of very good online courses with video tutorials and automated tasks that you can expand on, and they work really nicely. But here you can actually like learn the soft skills and the project skills better. And in the upcoming groups, we have 2 different projects, so we can expand on those.
Like I agree on what you said, and especially like I think to learn to like work with people when you are super frustrated. For example, in the summer course, I remember personally I get like quickly like annoyed, and then like it goes away. So I would be like cursing by myself, and then like saying sorry to my group people I worked with. But it was really good to kind of really have to think about what kind of energy you give to other people. Yeah. So it was a good learning experience for me in that sense as well.
Thanks. So what are you up to now? Would you like to discuss about what your on what you're doing now and what your future plans are.
Who wants to start? Okay. When I started the program, I didn't have like any like specific goal. Like I wanted to understand more about programming, but at the same time, I've had like this company or like as a side job for a while, and in the spring, it really came clear that I want to become an entrepreneur full time. So that was in my mind at the same time when I was studying. But I still wanted to complete the program. So now, in the beginning of January, I started as an entrepreneur. So we're doing like user experience stuff, but like more in the field of urban planning.
Oh, sounds cool.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm also currently working as an image analyst, and I am learning new things and working with very fine people who are helping me grow into this role in the future. Like hope to transition into GIS specialist role. So I am still building the skills and adding more responsibilities. And so far it's been a fun and exciting experience so far. Yeah.
For me, I'm still at my internship place, and will continue it for a while. And I would like to continue as a full stack developer, hopefully at the same place. But let's see how it goes. Anyway, it's like very great learning experience. So let's see.
Thank you so much for the discussion. And on the upcoming podcast, we're going to have a discussion with January groups, 2 tutoring teachers who actually both have moved to Finland as immigrants and have worked in software development space before working with us. So thanks and see you next time.